Good to go. All right, welcome everybody. This is season 3, episode 4 of The Movement. The Movement. I'm the only one here, so I usually say The Movement and everyone else says it with me, but we had, everybody from The Movement podcast is a little busy today with, sports, work, and whatever it may be. So like I said, today we are officially live. We're going to have a great show for you all today. Can't wait to hear what our guest has to say, but let me go ahead and introduce the people that are in the building first and foremost. You got little big bro, Yusuf Thabit. He's in the back today because Ramsey is busy doing a track, doing his thing. So Yusuf Thabit, definitely appreciate him. Always helping and working out, man. So shout out to little big bro, Yusuf Thabit. Love that guy. And then, of course, you got myself, Omar T. And then the guest for today is Eugene Wilson. He's in the building. Go ahead and give him a round of applause. Can't wait to hear what he has to say. Listen, we're set up like this, a 60-minute interview today, all right? So we right across from each other, having a conversation because we figured this would be the best way to talk to each other, especially, since it's only just us two. So we're going to have some fun today. Like I said, it should be a great conversation. Our topics today basically is creative storytelling and entrepreneurship. So it's going to be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? We're going to start off with the creative storytelling. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship. Expect us to talk about Michigan State, the greatest university of all time. Just make sure you mention that. But before we do and get into the conversations, I first want to say, be sure to follow us on all of our socials. You have YouTube, Oz Media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok under Oz Media. You can listen to the show later on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. If you want to call in, the number is 313-306-1750. Again, 313-306-1750. Feel free to call in. We got the phone right here. You want to chime in on the conversation, you can do that. Of course, you got to give a shout out to our sponsors, all of our sponsors here at Oz Media. You got Qahwah House, Adhesives, Specialty Medical Center, Juice Box, Hanley International Academy, Sidr Bees, and the Balkan House Restaurant. We're going to start off with the honey, Yusuf. So we're going to give a shout out to Sidr Bees. We had Osama as a guest here a couple weeks ago. He came on and shared his story and his journey about how he brought that honey from Yemen to America. So we appreciate Osama. We appreciate everybody over there at Sidr Bees. So shout out to Sidr Bees, and we're going to officially get the show on the road. All right, Yusuf, it looks like we have a little dilemma in our hands. We have this deliciously smelling sabaya right in front of us, but it looks like we're missing one important thing.
Yeah, it looks like we're missing some asal, some honey.
And you know where the best place to go to for honey? That is Sidr Bees. Sidr Bees is a remarkable company that stands at the forefront of the honey industry. With an unwavering commitment to quality, being authentic, and sustainability, Sidr Bees has carved its name as a trusted provider of premium honey products. The company's dedication to preserving the purity of honey is evident in every jar they produce. Sidr Bees sets a standard that goes beyond taste. It's a brand that captures nature's essence and brings it to the discerning consumers who appreciate the true goodness that honey offers. Sidr Bees is not just a honey company, it's a testament to the beauty of nature and the passion to deliver excellence in every drop. Shout out to Eugene. He's in the building today. Like I said, we can't wait to hear what he has to say. First and foremost, Eugene, I wanna start off with, Brother Al. All right, shout out to Brother Al. I want to say the story about how Eugene got here today. Al Martin is a mentor. I call him brother because that's kind of how I look at him. He's somebody that I still go to this day if I ever need anything, any advice when it comes to the journalism aspect of life. And the fact that I'm gonna let you share the story and stuff, but like you were mentioning that you wanted to look into maybe podcasting, and the fact that I was one of the first people that he mentioned is honestly like it's an honor, and to have you actually reach out and show up, Eugene, man, you don't understand how happy I was when you reached out. Like I know messages could be dry a little bit because we always so busy. Right. But when you reached out, man, I was so happy and proud. I was like, man, one, you always want to give back and you always want to help people and let them grow. But the fact that he mentioned me, then had you come, and then you reached out, like this is what MSU, this is what the brotherhood, this is what everything is all about. So first of all, Eugene, thank you for coming today. I appreciate you,
Most
man.
definitely.
Shout out to Al, though, man. How's he doing, man? How's he been?
He's doing good, doing his movies, doing his TV shows. He's staying busy, doing his radio. Always seems like he's having a blessed time doing what he does.
You know, soon he ain't gonna be answering our phone calls, man. We better.
Hey, the day is gonna come. I'm gonna be sending him that text message like, "Hey,
don't forget about us."
Right, don't forget about me.
So Eugene, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you're an MSU grad. You know, what do you do? What is it that you're currently doing? You know, and what year did you graduate, and everything else in between, man?
Yeah, so I did graduate from Michigan State. I graduated in 2018.
Okay.
I originally went to Michigan State for music. I was on the music scholarship, and I was doing jazz band, symphony band, marching band. I was on the drum line, so I was kind of doing it all. And like forever, actually growing up, I always thought that my main thing was going to be music. Like when I was 7 years old playing drums at my church, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to be the number one musician in the world. And so, but as time goes, you kind of start seeing what the world gives you, and you kind of deal with what comes your way. And I ended up graduating with a film production degree. I made that transition halfway through there. And now I'm doing film production full time. I have other businesses that I've invested time and money in and stuff like that within the stock market. I run a financial newsletter, and that's like other stuff that that I've been able to grow just out of being curious about what life gives us, you know, and the way to evolve just from just being just a filmmaker. And I'm trying to just add value to just like my personal portfolio.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, honestly, some of the things that you're doing is amazing, you know, and I'm sure you're in your 20s still, and you kind of already.
I wish I could stay in my 20s just a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's coming close. It's coming close, man. But yeah, I mean, you know, they say the 30s is new 20s nowadays, man. People, you know, people. As long as you stay healthy, and then you said you're on a water diet too, so you're on the right track, man. You're on the right track, man. So, you know. So this movement podcast, typically, like I told you, we usually have like another 3 or 4 young fellas right here sitting here, and they absorb, you know, the information that the guest kind of gives them. Mm-hmm. So, you know, entrepreneurship, you know, when we talk about that, we had a guy last week talking about it and kind of, you know, diving into why it's important for, you know, the youth and the younger generation to kind of dive into it early. Why do you feel it's important for people to dive into entrepreneurship at an early age?
Man, you know, I think it's whatever that's more than important. I think it's like necessary. And the biggest reason is because it builds character. It builds grit in your kid. It lets your child become a problem solver early. And my best example has always been if you allow your child to go and set up a lemonade stand or to sell cookies or something like that in the neighborhood to make their first $5 or $10 or something. You allowing them to do that and hear the word no from some individuals allows them to not associate no with being defeated. And it allows them to know how to put themselves forward. And sometimes people accept you for who you are. Sometimes people don't. And just the life lessons that you learn at an early age, you know, teaching them not just reading a book just to read it, but finding a book that you like because you find interest in it because it's something that you want to do or want to be in the future. It's just a lot of life lessons that if you teach them that early, by the time that they get into high school or going into college, they have a whole plan that if this doesn't work, I'm going here, or I'm going to go here full throttle. And it just allows them to just grow mentally so much faster.
I love the fact that you mentioned problem solving because you kind of meet people, even when you're an adult, who, you know, as soon as something comes their way, it's the world is ending.
Yep.
And it's like
it could be this small.
Yeah, it could be very small. And you look at it, I'm like, man, calm down. Like, you know, what's going on? Like, this is just this, you know, like you're gonna be okay. Like, but you know, it's crazy that you say that because if they could really learn that at a young age, oh my God, like the sky is the limit. You know what I'm saying? Like
the sky's the limit.
You really. And it's funny that you say that because like as a former teacher, you kind of see students and like you kind of can like imagine like, okay, this kid's gonna be successful, you know, or this kid, man, you know, I don't know about this one. So it's crazy that you say that because you can tell that there are some families who do value that. Yeah. And they teach their kids young about, you know, it might not just be about entrepreneurship, but just in general, you know, that when you get knocked down, get back up kind of mindset, kind of mentality. But it definitely goes under entrepreneurship as well, man.
Yeah.
Like it happens.
And you know, I was actually reading this book about having grit, and you can teach a lot of different things. It's like sports. Someone can be more athletic. They can be a better shooter. They might have the wingspan to be a better rebounder, whatever it is, right? But you can't teach a person to be gritty and to have hustle and to go jump for the ball instead of just trying to scoop it up, or to close out correctly instead of just putting the hand up. Like there's certain things that you can't teach. Sometimes it's about the upbringing, and by the time that they're 17, 18, mentally, they either have it or they don't. And that's why I think that a lot of athletes go on outside. Like once they can realize that there's other things outside of just that particular sport, they go on to do great things because they just transfer that internal discipline to something else.
If you have that internal discipline, you can do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to have athletes. I mean, one of the things I did was as an AD, obviously sometimes I decided to coach teams too. And so, like, you can tell, again, those kids that are going to be successful athletes, the ones that,
Definitely.
make a turnover, they just get right back on defense.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they get a turnover, or they miss a shot, they're already pouting. Like, you look at them like, man, like, being a problem solver and having that grit is something, a skill that you should have for any kid, for any person, no matter what you're trying to do, is something that you should take with you, and something that parents should be teaching their kids at an early age, because it's a lifelong lesson.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes on with your whole life, man. So let's learn a little bit about you, though, man. A little bit more, man. I know you kind of touched on some of the things that you do. Maybe we could dive into it. So creative storytelling, right? What is that, man? Like, some people might look at it like, what is creative storytelling? And then what do you do in terms of creative storytelling?
So this is the thing. If you ask 100 other creatives, the creative storytelling, they'll have their own definition.
Yeah.
But I know for myself, it's when you can watch something, when you can listen to something, and your mind ignores everything else besides what's going on. And so, like, when you go to the movie theater, you're not thinking about the person who just dropped their popcorn a couple rows down. You're not thinking about, the rent is due on the first. Like, you're so in tune with the acting, the visuals, the music, the pacing, that you just sat there for a whole 2 hours not thinking about anything else besides that. And I think that when you can achieve that, whether that's a commercial, a documentary, a music video, I think that is the creative storytelling to me of, like, what makes it so impactful. And like I said, it could be music videos, because some music videos tell stories. Some people are just intrigued with the graphics. Some people are intrigued with just an artist. And the story doesn't have to be this big, giant 2 hour, long thing, or a series where you watch 6 seasons of something. It can be 1 minute. It can be 30 seconds. It's just anything that you feel like you can just hold on to for an extended period of time.
And shout out to social media, by the way.
Shout out to social media.
We get to be creative and we get to storytell in less than 30 seconds.
Because I was going to say, because some people will argue that that's not creative storytelling. But if it has a beginning, middle, and an end, and you felt something in your heart when you watched it, I'm sorry, but to me, that was creative storytelling.
Yeah. And
it was quick, but it was creative storytelling.
And to be honest with you, like I said, it allows a lot of people, it allows anyone to really be able to be a storyteller and be creative with what they're doing. But so what are some of the works that you do, man? I seen the websites, man. I seen that you've done some things with, what was it, Ford, if I'm correct? Or,
Ford,
the commercials, man. This guy's a professional, fellas. He ain't just here talking, all right? And ladies too, by the way. He's actually, he's humble, as you guys can see. He's humble, but
that.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
Man, so the crazy thing is that I started this in 2017.
So right before you graduated.
Right before I graduated. And some people find it hard to believe, but the music program at Michigan State is crazy. I was, and this may be hard to believe, but I was probably practicing some days 10, 12 hours, 13 hours a day.
Wow.
And it was, one band practice was 2 hours. I practiced for a lesson. I have to go and give a lesson to a student. Then I have a one-on-one with the professor. Then I have another rehearsal that's another 2 hours long. And then I have to practice again because I have a recital that I'm doing at the end of the month. So it's like that was going on Monday through Friday. And when I switched over to film production, people weren't like that. And so I remember coming in, looking at other people like, hey, where do we check out cameras? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? And they're like, no, I'm doing this tonight. I'm hanging out here. And I'm like, y'all don't like it don't operate the same here,
Yeah.
like, and so I took advantage of that. And even though I switched over, it was actually the middle of my junior year, but I think because of the whole January thing, 2017, maybe it was a little bit before 2017 actually, I think. But the whole point is that when I made that switch, people didn't have that same drive that I did. So I just basically took the music drive, put it to film, and I started my production company while I was still in school. I would bring in clients for meetings and meet them at the union because I didn't have an office, or I would go down the street and be like, hey, can I rent the office for an hour for $50? And they were like, yeah, because I didn't have an office. And the clients didn't know. The clients just thought I just wanted to meet on campus. Some of them knew I was a student. Some people just didn't ask. And shout out to John Weber, who was the drumline instructor. He gave me my first client. You know, he was like, hey, I know you're not in the drumline anymore. I know you're doing video. He said, hey, these are all of our events. What events can you come to? Practice with us. So I spent half a year practicing with them. And then next thing I know, he calls Olivet College and he talks to the band director. He said, hey, I have a former MSU drumline alumni, and he's doing great with video. I know you needed a commercial. Give him a call. Gives me a call, and that's where it all started. And so fast forward to now, I specialize now in cinematography specifically. Some stuff I run through the company. Some stuff I work as an independent contractor.
Look at that. See, I'm telling you guys, networking is so huge, man, and getting to know people. And even when something like, perfect example, like, you know, you decided to go somewhere else, but you still kept that relationship with the people that you were, you know, with. And
you got to. You
can't, you know, burn those bridges, because there's ways of leaving situations. And you know, I think that speaks volumes of, one, who you are, but two, it's like you guys don't know the impact that you can have, is because it can come full circle 6-7 years from now, you know, like you never know. That's why you don't ever want to build bridges. A perfect example for those that don't know, and some of you do, is that, you know, I was working at Hanley. I'm not at Hanley, but Hanley still wanted to be a gold sponsor. So we're going to actually give a shout out to Hanley right quick. Our second sponsor of today. They you know, great people over there. Shout out to Mr. Paddock, you know, reached out, you know, and said that we want to be a sponsor again. I know you don't work here anymore, but we'd still love to sponsor. So, you know, we appreciate Mr. Paddock and everybody over there at Hanley International Academy. So we're going to give our second shout out to our sponsor, and then we're going to continue this great conversation with man Eugene over here. He's spitting facts right now. I hope y'all listen. I hope y'all taking notes. But shout out to us, Hanley International Academy. You know, Yusuf, you seem like a pretty smart man. What elementary/middle school did you get promoted from?
The one and only Hanley International Academy.
Hanley International Academy is a school that treats every student and staff like their own family. It's even in their vision statement, educating your child like our own. Their location is 2400 Denton Street, Hamtramck, Michigan. Their phone number is 313-875-8888. The academics there are great. The athletics there are great. Thank you to the staff and administrators at Hanley for educating our leaders of tomorrow. Talk about that. All right, we're officially back. Sorry. We're officially back. Me and Eugene was having a nice conversation, even on the side. Side conversations are good too. You know, so I have a question. So where did L come in between all of this, man? And, you know, like, when did L into the life, man? Because shout out to L. You know, L always doing big things, man. So
so this is the thing, man. I knew of Al when I was at MSU because I was an intern at WKR.
Same here, brother. That's how we kind of got.
And so I knew of him, but I never really had a that connection with him until like after I graduated, and my brother was going into journalism. And so I was like, man, all right, you know, me being an older brother, I'm always trying to find a mentor, you know, trying to help him out as much as I can. And I'm like, hey, there's only one black dude up here at Michigan State in the journalism department. He got to be cold. Because, as you know, if he's not, he ain't gonna be there.
Yeah,
you know, they'll find somebody else to fill in that block. But
sure.
And so I had my brother reach out to him. You know, he gave advice to my brother, and then after time, we met another person. His name is Carlos. Me and him, we started doing film projects together, and he was like, "Hey, I want to bring Al as our main actor. He's trying to get into acting." And I'm like, "Man, that sounds familiar." Al. And I seen him, I'm like, Al.
Yeah.
And so, really, our relationship grew with film production.
Nice.
So that's really what it is. He wanted to do movies, so we started shooting short films, making him like the lead actor, and it helps that he's really good at what he does too.
He do.
You know, that's the great part, because
Natural.
And
you know, the thing is, I be watching him on social media. We got a student saying, "Hi, Mr. Tabi, can you please come back to Hanley?" By the way, as the comment section. Shout out to you, Sama Al-Hada'i. So, yeah, like the cool thing about Al is he's really dedicated to his craft.
Definitely.
You know, like you'll see him post stuff, you know, a lot of times where he's just like working on films that probably is not a film he's actually working on, but
Like
he's just practicing.
his audition tapes.
Yeah,
and
his
stuff.
audition tapes. So it's like
in the gym shooting.
Yeah, for real. That's what it is, and so that's why that's people you want to surround yourself with, because they don't just talk about it. They be about it. Their actions back up their words.
Absolutely.
And you get inspired just by being around that. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my man L. We appreciate him. So in the world that we live in today, Eugene, why is it important to have a unique skill set? And this is a very important question, because I want people to understand that in life, you're going to go this way, you're going to go this way, you might go this way, you might go this way. So that's why, I believe it's important, but why do you feel it's important for an individual to have a unique skill set?
Yeah. So this is the thing. The example you just gave of sometimes life puts you going one direction, maybe this direction, maybe that direction. I think it's really important to have a group of unique skill sets, like not necessarily just one. You can choose to be a specialist once you figure it all out, and you can say, hey, this is what I'm going to be, similar to me doing the production company, but then saying, hey, I'm really good at this specific thing. So if other production companies need a commercial, you can just hire me for just the visuals to make it look beautiful. But I'm not the editor, I'm not the director, I'm not the script writer, all the other positions. I'm just coming in for one specialized role. But in order to know how to work with those team members, I do have to have directing experience, writing scripts and stuff like that. So like you really need to be a Swiss Army knife, even though the media would tell you not to, right? The media always says, well, if you're a specialist,
stick to that,
don't do anything else. But at the end of the day, how are you supposed to bring a team together if you don't know how to do other things? Because then you're just fully reliant on them. And honestly, just mentally being able to adjust. If you weren't able to adjust, you would be like, hey, Gene, man, we don't have the people here. We got to cancel it. But if nobody showed up, I'm sure you can go back there, boom, 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 click everything, start it up. All right, Gene, let's talk.
Yeah.
And so being able to adapt, the adaptability should be in everybody's toolkit. But I think you need a group of skill sets, and you could choose which one you want to specialize in later.
That's a perfect point, and I believe, everybody typically has a vision of like eventually maybe doing their own thing or trying to do their own thing. Some people kind of stop halfway through, and it's because they realize all the things that they have to do. But when you do learn all the jobs and trades that is needed to get, whatever it is done or open up that business and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And like you said, like you eventually are not going to be able to do it all on your own, but you have to be able to show the next person how it's done.
And the key thing is sometimes you don't have to show. At least for me, working with directors and producers, you have to be able to listen and sometimes just describe well enough what it is you want. So if I'm looking for a particular project to be done, I should be able to give you a full roadmap. Whether I can do it and sit down and show you what buttons to put, like whether it's film, whether it's a newsletter, whether it's finance, I should be able to know enough to give you a roadmap to get there, so that way you're not going in blind.
And maybe you can even attest to this too, and as much as employers are looking for somebody that is specified in one specific skill set, as soon as you get the job, it's like, oh, by the way, we kind of need you to do this too, by the way, if that's okay. Absolutely. Oh, by the way, can you do this too? Doesn't that always happen? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that happens a lot where, don't get me wrong, more times than not, they kind of do, basically tell you what it is that you need to do. But sometimes you kind of just have to, take with what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that you got to just be prepared for anything and everything, Yep. So, but go ahead. You were about to say something?
Yeah, I was going to just add to that, because if, imagine going into a project and someone, or actually, let's say a client reaches out to you and you're going into that project and you're like, all right, I'm going to do A, B, C, and D. And the client is expecting one more thing to be added, but you don't know how to do it. And if you don't know how to do it, sometimes that's the contract. They're like, well, sorry. That's, we can't.
Yeah.
You can give us the film and this and that, but you don't know how to market it. All right, well, we're looking for someone who can also market. So if I might not be the best at marketing, but I better know enough to be able to find the best marketer for it, like for this particular project. So sometimes it's not even about having the skill. It's about just learning about it. So that way you can find someone that has the skill.
Go ahead and give that a round of applause, Yusuf. That was a great point right there. You know what I'm saying? And you won't be able to find the person if you didn't have the knowledge behind it, at least somewhat, where you can kind of, find somebody that knows what they're doing.
And the thing I struggled with early in my film career is that I thought I was good and I was decent, but I didn't even know what good was until I started looking elsewhere. I was in the box of like the same group of people that I watched and studied behind, but until I started going further on the deep end, I was like, wow, like I have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Like I don't know about this equipment. I don't know about these cameras, this media here. Like there's a whole world of stuff that I had no idea that was even there. And it was mainly for the fact that I didn't prepare myself. So if a client were to come and they wanted A, B, and C, I would have said yes, thinking I was able to provide it. But because I didn't actually have that skill set, because I didn't know about it and I never went outside of my little world, I would have set myself up for failure. For
sure, man. So, you said that you switched over to filmmaking pretty much like your junior year of college, right? College, this is my question to you, because this is always a debate that we have in here in this studio with a lot of the young fellas here, and it's probably a debate in the country with every household and everybody else, and that is, do you feel it's important for the younger generation to attend college or / university in order to be successful in this world? Like, that question is based off of 2023, September 30th, because that answer could be different 10 years ago. It could be different 10 years from now. But as of right now, if you were seeing a bunch of seniors in high school about to graduate, would you say, you need to go to college to be successful, or what would your answer be to that?
I think there's things that you can get from college that you can't get anywhere else. If it really depends on your background, because I have friends that went to Michigan State that were never around white people, and then got around white people, and they were just like, man, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And maybe you need that adjustment, maybe you don't. Some people struggle with getting business ideas and just ideas in general in front of people. A university can help with that. You can go to different seminars on campus, different group events. You can walk around, just look at all the stuff on the bulletin boards on like every single hallway, and you can find something to go and be a part of. So some people need it. Do you need it to be successful? Absolutely not. And I've always been passionate about that, because I look at my daughter, who's only 10 months right now, but I think about her future, and I think about the stuff that I plan to teach her at an early age. She'll probably be an entrepreneur before she even gets to college. She'll probably have financial backing, investments and stuff like that before she even gets to college. So if she's well off and she says, hey, I have this idea or I have this skill that I want to perfect, it may be more beneficial for her to go to a trade school, to find a person to go and study behind for a couple years or something like that. You might lose out on the football games and all the hype and stuff like that being on campus, which some people go just for that. Some people don't really care for it.
Yeah.
But I think that whatever route you go, it should be based upon what your goals are.
Yeah. And college, listen, I love college, and I thought it was the best time of my life in terms of, opening doors and getting to see people and actually knowing what a good educational system looks like. Because let's be real, I went to schools in Hamtramck. I love Hamtramck, but you don't realize that what you really have until you actually, leave the comfort zone and you realize okay, this is school. You know what I'm saying? I was learning, I was in class and I was interested, some classes, obviously not every class, but I was in class and I'm like, man, this is what it is. This is what school really feels like, and Definitely. So, that part of it is awesome, and getting to know people is definitely great. But yeah, it's all about what you get out of it, though. Like, a lot of people do go into the university, and they treat it as it's another 4 years, and they just go to school and then they graduate, and
it's easy to get trapped in it.
Yeah, it is.
When like I said, I got there my freshman year, and I'm like, hey, I'm here to play the drums. Like, I'm here to be the best musician I could be and I was extremely competitive, extremely driven. I mean, my family could tell you, I came in as a freshman talking about, hey, I'm about to be better than some of these grad students. Was it true? Absolutely not, because there was some very, very talented people there.
I love the mindset, though, man.
But the mindset was, if a person is going to be better than me, then you're going to have to show me. And doing that, the first 3 years of just being into it, there were times I missed out on family events, conversations, and just a lot of different things I missed on because I was just so focused and just head down, just going. And you realize that after doing all of that, I've gotten the opportunity to perform in different places, whether that was like Rose Bowl, high schools, other universities, in front of donors, all of that, which was great. But I never learned how to monetize any of it. I never learned, I'm a great musician, but how can I actually make a living off of this? And so that was actually what triggered the switch, because I'm like, all right, well, I'm a great musician and I'm doing lessons and stuff like that, but my cap right now is a music professor. And outside of that, like, where else can I go? And that's what got me, brought me into just the plethora of things that I'm in now. I was just like, there has to be another way. And I was lucky to catch me being in that cycle early, because there's people that I know that finished music school, great musicians, couldn't find a job, went off to be a pilot. And it's like, whoa, what was the 5-6 years for? Yeah. Besides giving Michigan State money.
Yeah. A lot of money. Love Michigan State, but university, it does cost a lot of money. Let's be real. Like, we ain't gonna lie to y'all. I mean, there's ways that people can become successful in this world, and not having to go to a university. But I tell you what, it does cost a lot of money. And so we have a question that says, how do you get a scholarship for music? Do you just perform really well in high school, or do you perform in other events and people find you?
Yeah. So actually, this is a story that I haven't told too many people. Michigan State actually played me in the beginning. I auditioned. You get the scholarship by auditioning. There's no like recruiters or anything like that. They have camps and stuff.
So you auditioned like still in high school, or before going to Michigan State, or you auditioned while you were
in high school?
Okay.
Yep. So when I was in high school, I auditioned for the drum line, or for the College of Music first. In order to be on the drum line, you have to be a music student. So I did the College of Music first, and then I auditioned for the drum line. And the drum line at the time had maybe 2 spots available out of like maybe 200 people that were auditioning. So it's definitely very challenging. The music program, obviously, have thousands of people that apply and audition across the world every single year. And so it's, you have to be really good to get there. Yeah. And, but when I first got there, my offer letter said I had a scholarship. And then when I got to the school, I'm thinking like, all right, well, I didn't pay any tuition yet, because I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to be getting something, right? Yeah. And so I get there, school starts. I'm looking at these letters that's coming in. So I go to the front office, and they're like, yeah, unfortunately, we had a more, what they say, they had more students come from out of state than expected. And the out of state students are basically come in line first to get their scholarship. And so I'm like, so I don't have a scholarship because other people came from out of state? And he's like, yeah. And so my first year, I didn't think I was even going to make it to the second year, because I was like, we can't afford it. Yeah. And so it's crazy, because it took a lot of convincing and just going back and forth and with professors. And then the second year, they gave me the scholarship that I was supposed to have the first year. But that process,
they didn't go back and resend it, or they just
nah. And so, and the thing was, actually, I wanted to have 2 degrees, but they told me that if I was to double major, and I don't know if it was true or not, because some professors are for you, some professors aren't. But I was told that if I was to double major, that I couldn't keep the music scholarship. And I was like, well, you know, I'm making the switch whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's why I shout out John Weber, the drumline instructor, man, because he was one of the few people that were very supportive. That was like his exact words. He was like, man, whatever you do, you're going to be successful. And like, you know, that takes a toll on you. And you remember those moments like that when you're, you know, making these transitions and stuff.
People always say it's one person. You know, if you got one person that believes in you, it can mean the world of difference, man. It's crazy that when you talk to people, you kind of hear that one person, you know, that one person that, you know, that it might not only have been him in your life, but, you know, that one person at a very time where you needed that person, especially, you know, they show that support for you. And, you know, now look, you know, you're on the right track.
And, you know, I only auditioned at one school.
Wow.
I went to U of M. And
you said, I can't come here.
I wasn't vibing. I just wasn't vibing with it. Granted, I was waitlisted first, later got accepted, but by the time they even responded to me, I knew I was a Spartan anyways. Yeah. And Western was another place, Eastern was another place, but I was like, in my opinion at the time, and you know, some people can do it, some people can't, but I put every single egg that I had in, you know, the hope of me making Michigan State's drumline in the College of Music. And so I'm just thankful that they saw what I saw in myself.
Yeah, for sure, man. And you know, Michigan fans like to joke and always say, like, well, where's that rejection letter at? You know what I mean? Like, they say about us, Michigan State Spartans. Like, I told people, like, first of all, I never applied to Michigan. You know, I only applied to Michigan State. Yeah. You know, it was my mindset from day one, you know, so it just made sense, especially like the College of, you know, Journalism, Communication, Arts, and Science, really well known. So, you know, I thought Michigan State forever, but, you know, Michigan fans can't get it twisted, you know what I'm saying?
They can't get it twisted. And, you know, this is the thing. U of M obviously is a great school. Yeah. But I think that they have not all of them, but and this could be for both sides of why people choose this school over this school and plus other rivalries. Sometimes the vibe of a school and a campus, which for U of M, the campus is just the city. Yeah. Some people like the isolation of just being, like, you can walk outside your dorm room and know that the next 100 people around you are all students. You know, I'm a freshman. I know that, hey, half the people in this building with me are all freshmen. Yeah. And, you know, going to football games, I'm a 2-minute walk away from the stadium next to the tailgates and so it's, some people just like certain vibes better, whether that's U of M, Michigan State, whether it's, you know, Georgia, Alabama, you know, whatever it is, right? Yeah, for sure. You know, it's definitely it's all about the preference of the person for sure as well. So we're going to go ahead and give another shout out to the next sponsor, which is Specialty Medical Center, Yusuf. We're going to give a shout out to Specialty Medical Center. Great people over there as well. We appreciate their support. Yusuf, Ahmad Rahi, and everyone else. So let's give a shout out to Specialty Medical Center, and then we're reaching the end point, man. We're down to our last few questions, Eugene, but great conversation so far, man. Definitely.
All right, Yusuf. So you know, the other day I was playing basketball with my friends, doing what I usually do on the court, but as I was driving to the lane, I kind of hurt my knee.
Oh man, not again.
Yeah, but this time I knew which place to go to that would take care of me the best, and that is Specialty Medical Center. Specialty Medical Center is a medical center that prides itself on patient care and its rehabilitation services. Their primary focus is developing a customized treatment plan unique to each individual patient's needs. Their center offers a full range of patient care, from diagnostic testing, pain management, physical therapy, regenerative medicine solutions, and surgical care. They currently have 2 locations, one in Dearborn and one in Sterling Heights. So if you're looking for a place that treats your medical needs the best, be sure to stop by Specialty Medical Center. Okay. Yeah, so I'm talking to Eugene right here, and he was telling me about the intense moment of like actually going to I think tryouts, or what is it called again? Auditioning. I'm sorry, auditioning. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about that, like when you audition to get accepted into MSU's, get a scholarship for MSU's band.
So the crazy thing is you go downstairs and they have like this big audition room, and outside the audition room you have the line of people that are waiting for their audition.
So everybody's holding like a different instrument or something?
Nope, same instrument. Because you know, this is just for the percussionist. Okay. So everyone that's auditioning is auditioning for the same 2 or 3 like spots that they have that year. And while you're waiting, you can hear the other person doing their audition. And right, I'm sitting there, I'm like getting my mind right and everything. And the person before me, his name is Josh Blessing, and we're great friends. I tease him all the time about this, but he played the same snare solo that I prepared to go in there and play, and he played it a lot faster. And at the time, it could have just been the mental and everything, but it was a lot faster. And I'm thinking like, dang, like this, he's playing it a lot better. Like dang, this is looking bad.
Yeah.
And so, and I didn't prepare like a different snare solo or anything, but so it was great that we both made it in.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was nerve wracking. I'm like, okay, well.
So let me ask you this question. It kind of goes off topic of the band stuff, man.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the stock stuff that you do, and you have your own Instagram page, and your Twitter page is really popping off.
Yeah, it's doing okay. Yeah.
So what do you do with that, man? I'm kind of interested to hear about that. Like, when did you start it? When did you decide to jump into it, and how's that been going?
So this is the thing, man. When I started this around the time that I started Fifth Media, which is the film production company.
Yeah.
While I was in the dorm room. I have an uncle who's a financial advisor, and he was teaching me a lot about the long-term investing and stuff like that, which is all very important. You got to walk, or you got to crawl before you can walk.
Yeah.
And but when I'm sitting there, I go and do a commercial. Let's say I make $1,000 to go do something, and I put the money in the savings account. At the time, the interest rates on savings accounts were like 0.01. So you're not making anything. Your money's just sitting there.
Yeah. And
so I'm like sitting there. I'm like, okay, well, if stuff gets slow, or while I'm waiting for the next project, what can I do with that $1,000 that's sitting there? And I know that there's long-term investing, but what about the short-term? There has to be some way of being able to do stuff short-term. So then you start researching and reading. You realize, hey, you can make money when the stock goes up. You can make it when it goes down. You can make money when the stock doesn't move at all. Like, there's just different strategies that you can use. You just got to learn them all. You got to learn the way of the market, the different seasonalities that go on throughout the year, and you just put a small portion of your money to the side for some high risk stuff. And if you do it right, whatever you have saved, by the end of the year, you're able to capitalize on an extra 10% of what you have saved. And originally I'm like, man, that's not a whole bunch. If you have 10 grand, you're looking at $100 at the end of the year, but it's like, that's something, that's more than nothing, because if the 10 grand becomes 100,000 or $1 million, that's enough. $1 million with only with 10% is enough to be able to pay rent each month and do this and do that.
Yeah.
So like, I just started looking at the big picture. And I'm like, well, I need to learn this. And when 2020 came, I was already invested. And when the whole flash crash happened, I didn't believe it was as big as it was. And I put a small portion into it. And when stocks totally went to the moon, is what the trendy word would say. Yeah. I made money, but I didn't make nearly as much as I felt like I should have if I was really prepared, like how I should have been prepared. And there was a lot of news articles and all these different things about the world's ending, don't invest in stocks, businesses is closing, people are dying, which obviously was all true. Yeah. But I felt that if I would have had just like a shoulder tap, just a reminder of like, hey, like this is a big opportunity. Hey, like look here, look there, then I could have came out probably times 10 of like what I made. And so that's been the whole purpose behind me creating the stock market newsletter called Simplify Wall Street, is being able to take these complex issues in the economy and show the way that the macroeconomic stuff affects the financial stability of the economy, and showing the opportunities that can come throughout the year. And it's basically that shoulder tap of like, hey, this is going on this week. Hey, this has happened this week. The stock market is here versus there from 2 months ago. A buying range would be great here. And, it allows people to say, hey, if this is a great moment to purchase, let me take a small portion, invest it. Short term, some people, it can be long term, because I'll talk about both on there. But it's just that second outlet that I've been able to use to be able to take film market or film production profits, put into the stock market, and increase, that profitability while I'm still out shooting movies.
Sounds like you're simplifying Wall Street.
That's the goal, because it comes off as very complicated and very scary.
Yeah.
And so I try to explain things in the simplest form.
All right. So while I was doing my research of getting to know you, you know what I'm saying? Because this is our first time actually being face to face with one another. So my question to you is, in your bio it mentions that you have an unwavering ability to stay curious. All right.
Yep.
How has that shaped you into becoming who you are today? And I think that's a great bio line, by the way, an unwavering ability to stay curious, because advice for anybody is to always be curious, right?
Always.
But let's hear your answer. How has that helped you into becoming who you are today?
Man, if I wasn't curious, it wouldn't be anything right now.
Yeah.
It's something that sometimes I think it goes back to the whole entrepreneurship at an early age. Like, it comes at an early age where you're just wondering how the world works, why it works, how these people have gotten to a certain level, why you're still here at this level. And I think that anybody who doesn't have an ounce of curiousness to them is in for trouble, because how do you evolve if you're not questioning the different opportunities that come to yourself or other people, or that you see on social media or that you read about? And the curiosity is what led me to going to Michigan State and changing from music to film. I was writing music for other people's films at the time, and then I started thinking like I can do movies, I can shoot video. Like, these people aren't that good. So I picked up a camera, taught myself some stuff, studied behind some people, and I'm like, dang, like, being able to do this imagery is gorgeous. Like, I fell in love with it, and then the curiosity took me to, okay, well, this is a passion of mine. I love being creative. How can I make money? Like, I see these people that talks about how much they made in box office when you go to the theater. It's like, well, all right, well, what type of job is that? If I can't get paid to be in movies, can I do commercials? It's the only way to make money is to have my own production company. And I was like, you start finding those answers of, production company gives you more control. It's not necessarily you make more money, because sometimes you don't. You might make your 15-20% off of the overall budget, but you're not making more than what you're probably paying the director for the project or something like that. So it's like my whole transitioning phase from like 1, 2, and 3 has always been about staying curious and just looking for what's next.
There's that famous saying, they say curiosity killed the cat.
Yep.
We're not cats. All right.
Not cats.
We're human beings.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So definitely be curious, man. Like, stay curious, because that's going to keep you going, man. Like,
it will.
It's another way of saying, like, don't be stagnant in life, right?
Don't be stagnant. And the book I'm reading actually says you only stop living when you stop evolving. And I think being curious in terms of how to solve problems, how to better yourself, goes hand in hand with that. And if you can find a way to not just stay curious, but to be comfortable enough to sometimes sound stupid, because I've been in rooms asking questions about certain things, and I feel like it's a stupid question, but the person's actually happy to answer.
Yeah.
And it's like the person that's in school, and I was this person before, when you're like the goofy kid, you might know the answer, but since you're so used to being wrong, you don't really want to raise your hand, because you're like, well, if I'm wrong, they might laugh because they know I joke with everybody.
Yeah.
So you kind of sit there, you wait for a couple people to get it wrong, and then you kind of do half up. It's like, if you got to be comfortable with just saying, all right, boom, raise my hand. I know the answer. And if you don't, dang, I missed it. Next question.
And no big deal.
And no big deal.
People got to not worry about that. At the end of the day, you kind of just got to let it be. But listen, there's been a lot of gems that you've been mentioning today in terms of like guiding somebody to the right path of success. And man, I appreciate you so much, Eugene.
Definitely.
Real talk. Like, I thank you enough. And shout out to Al, by the way, for being kind of like the middleman in this situation too. We appreciate Al. I'm so glad I got a chance to meet you, because this is that networking that we talked about earlier.
Yep.
Like, now it's like, it's a forever thing, like I said earlier before the show, if something, you ever need anything, it could be 3, 4, 5 months. It could be a year down the line. But yo, Omar, I remember you said this, blah, blah, blah. Or likewise. And I know that we be here for each other. And this is the kind of like the stuff that you need this is the kind of stuff that you want to see as an entrepreneur or just anyone in life, that this is what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate you, Eugene, but you still have to give us some more weekend motivation.
Okay.
We got to hear that. Before we do that, though, I want to give a shout out to our last sponsor. We try to get 4 of them each day because they are 8 of them all together. So we try to at least hit half. So shout out to Juice Box and Hamtramck. We appreciate them and all that they do. Stay tuned for some weekend motivation. I mean, I know he's already been giving us some great advice, but we're gonna shut it down with before we close it down, we're gonna get some weekend motivation from Eugene. So shout out to Juice Box and Hamtramck.
All right, Yusuf, I want you to envision this with me, okay? Imagine you just had a long day at work and all you want is a nice, cool, refreshing drink to top it all off. Do you know where you stop by at, Yusuf?
It's got to be Juice Box.
It's definitely Juice Box. If you're looking for a place with the best smoothies, milkshakes, ice cream, cereal bars, and slushies, then Juice Box is your one-stop shop. You can try things like their Biscoff or Nutella shakes, crepes, watermelon blast, strawberry burst, or mango smoothies. And if you're looking for a place to hang out, they have a comfortable outdoor patio/courtyard area that you and your friends can enjoy while trying those delicious drinks. So be sure to stop by Juice Box. They have a Hamtramck location right there on Joseph Campo, with more locations coming soon. You'll be sure to leave there with a big smile on your face. You'll also be able to order your drinks from the new Juice Box app, which will also be coming soon. It will be downloadable on all of your smartphone devices.
All right, so we are officially back. This is the time for Eugene to give us some weekend motivation. This has been a great show so far, man. I like this one-on-one conversation stuff right here, sitting across from each other.
It was good.
Maybe
I got a little lucky today. That I was able
you know what? This is good, man.
Steal the show.
I'll pass the show to one of the young fellas, and sometimes they throw me off a little bit. So, we're trying to get them to learn how to speak publicly too. Yeah. So it's a process, but this has been great, though. This has been great. So my question to you, Eugene, is, it's not really a question. Like, what advice do you have? Like, can you give us some weekend motivation? It could obviously be about anything. So, this is usually the clip that we kind of pull more times than not. Obviously you had so many other great clips, but I guess some weekend motivation. Let us know, what you got for us, Eugene.
So I thought about this, man, while we were on the break, and my father-in-law is a pastor, and so I'm gonna give a shout out to him because this kind of comes from his last sermon that he gave. But I would challenge everybody to look in the mirror and just be honest with yourself and just ask yourself, are you in or are you out? Whatever goal that you have in mind, whatever project that you're trying to finish, if you're in, then be dedicated, be committed to it. And if you're out, just stop lying to yourself and just move to something else.
I love that, man. Go ahead and give that a round of applause. And lying to everyone else too, man. Like
everyone else.
Yeah, like it's either you're in and you're out, and I like that. It's very simple, but it's deep because people got to understand that you're wasting not only your time, you're wasting everyone's time. And people, obviously, time is money, right?
Yeah.
And so
the thing is too is that some people don't think it's wasting other people's time. If you start a business or you start a brand and you put it out there for 6 months and you have people that start showing interest in what you're doing, then 6 months later you don't exist. They were just supporting you for no reason. And that's almost like a slap in the face. So, even before you start the business, you need to figure out, like, are you in or are you out?
I agree. Keeping it simple like that, Eugene. Well, listen, man. First of all, I'm going to let you say final words. I just want to say shout out to Eugene. We appreciate him for coming on today. This was Season 3, Episode 4 of the Movement Podcast. We talked about entrepreneurship/creative storytelling. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials, YouTube, Oz Media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok under Oz Media. You can listen to the show later on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. Shout out again to our sponsors, Qahwah House, BC Adhesives, Specialty Medical Center, Hanley International Academy, Juice Box, Sidr Bees, and the Balkan House Restaurant. We appreciate all of them and what they do and their support. Last but not least, again, special shout out to Eugene, man. He was in the building, today. So go ahead and give us any final word or final comments that you want to say, man.
Yeah. Also, man, just thanks for having me. It was a great time to be able to meet new people, you and your brother. Just glad to be here, and I hope I inspired someone.
Yeah, for sure, man. And how can people your socials or follow you if you want to add that on?
So if you are wanting to just check out me in general, my cinematography page is Gene Wilson V, which is Gene Wilson V as in Victor. If you're interested in the finance and stuff, you can follow us on Twitter at Simplify Wall Street. Well, Simplify WSJ, which is technically us saying we're simplifying Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
So it's not really a competitive thing, but I figured I would make it just a little bit of competitiveness,
For sure.
Let Wall Street Journal know that we're coming.
There you go. Shout out to Eugene. He's gonna come. I'll tell you that right now, man. He's a young entrepreneur that is doing big things, and I can't wait to hear more about you and what you're doing. And just know that you have an ally on your side here, man.
I appreciate you, man.
If you ever need anything, likewise, I appreciate you, man. If you ever need anything, have a good one. And I know we got students saying bye, Mr. Tab. So bye. I hope you guys enjoy this show. Again, we're actually not going to be live next week. So beginning next month, for every show, because we typically go live once a month, but it's a lot. So my goal is to always have 1 week of no show. So next week, Saturday, is going to be our no show for the movement. But we'll hopefully be back the following week. So we're looking forward to that. So we hope that you all enjoy it. Our sports show is live tomorrow at 11:30. So make sure y'all tune into that. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. Be safe out there and enjoy this beautiful weather before it goes away.